as you get older, you want to go home.
Yes.
You feel, you feel like, oh, I need to go back home. I miss my people, I miss my food, I miss my everything, right? And the others were just, honestly, just family for me. The crazy people.
That's a good way to start the life in Sri Lanka, I would say.
Yes, exactly. Are you sure you're not going to allow me to have a boyfriend from Zambia? We had this argument.
Sri Lankans go abroad. They they want the same culture. They want the same food. They want everything same. And they want their children to get married to a Sri Lankan. You might as well stay in Sri Lanka, guys.
The kind of Sinhalese that my parents would have spoken to come here and realize that was not Sinhalese. He's someone who the party guy when I met him, right? Like this was like massive Sri Lanka's biggest party guy that I knew. You learn to say no, that's enough, thank you so much, I don't want it. And you have to be firm, but you don't have to be rude. If he goes too far, feel free to pick up something and hit him. If not,
Hi, Aruni and Irshan. Welcome to the podcast. How are you guys today?
Hi, Lino. We're hot, and I don't mean that in a nice way. We're actually hot and boiling and melting over here. But we're doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good too. Thanks. No, not hot, cold, but I'm okay.
Yeah, I could kind of see you in a sweater, and I thought, oh my God.
Yes. You cannot imagine. So yeah, let's go. Tell us about yourself and Irshan, of course.
Okay, so I am from Zambia. My parents were Sri Lankan. They've passed away. But I was born in Zambia. School, college, where everything worked, jobs, everything was. My whole life was there, and my parents came to Sri Lanka after I think it was 16 years of them not being here, and I think as you get older, you want to go home.
Yes.
You feel you feel like, oh, I need to go back home. I miss my people, I miss my food, I miss my everything, right? And so my sister facilitated that and brought them to Sri Lanka, and but then that was also a way to try and sort out their ailments. As you get older, you also have those. That was also a trip to Sri Lanka as well as India, and for somehow my mom felt it was okay. I don't want to go back. I want to stay here, and my dad wanted to, but she seemed to fit. She's really great she was really great with my dad's family. So that bonding was very powerful for her. And so they stayed, and my sister and her husband came to Sri Lanka and India and did all that stuff. And I stayed there working and everything. And mostly, actually, all I'd ever done was community work, working with children on the streets, so orphans and vulnerable children, working with communities with HIV and people living with HIV and AIDS, and women's groups and things like that, and also just community work. So my dad ran a restaurant in our town in Kitwe, and between myself, my older sister, and him, we were running that. That turned into a nightclub, and it was like when one has its years go by, and then okay, that's done. We need to change because other businesses are coming along, and there's a lot of competition, so you need something always new. So they turned it into something else. And then my dad and mom came here, and I hadn't seen him for a number of years, and then got his fifth stroke. And and he was completely down, paralyzed, and he's always been this lion, he's like the guy who your best friends, or none of the guys in your school will come and look at. They'll stand at the beginning of the road because they're so scared of him. That's the kind of guy he was. But then so I thought, okay, I need to come and see them, and just in case, you never know what will happen. And when I saw him, he had a full white beard and white hair, and he looked like I don't know, he looked so much older and much more frail and vulnerable, and it was very difficult after that many years to
Yeah, I
just say,
can
okay.
imagine. Mm.
And so I thought, if I have to be here, I had no plans of living here, nothing. I had my home, my ex-boyfriend, my house, everything, my sister and everything was there. And yeah, and I thought, if I'm going to stay here, I need to be able to survive here and be able to take care of them. So I applied to 78 jobs in the space of 2 weeks, and I got 3 interviews, 2 crazy ones, and one that was from a volunteer organization, very similar to that I wanted to apply in South Africa.
Okay.
And it again, community work in a different manner. So it made me fit in quite well. I think my first family was them in Sri Lanka.
Nice.
The guys
Nice.
The last boss that I would have worked with would have been like my older brother that I never had, and the others were just honestly just family for me. The crazy people.
That's a good way to start the life in Sri Lanka, I would say.
Yes, exactly. I don't think my parents would have understood the challenge of coming from somewhere like Zambia.
Totally different. Yes.
Food, heat, smells, dress, everything. I mean, it was just a complete turn you upside down.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Can I ask you something, Aruni?
Yeah.
Which part of Sri Lanka your parents were from?
Well, they were
In Sri
both
Lanka.
from Kelani. Yeah,
Oh.
my dad was. Their families were both from Kelani, but I know they're all split up and all over the place right now. My dad's family didn't have much family, actually. She just had one. I just have one aunt from her family side that I know of, but other than that, everybody was from my dad's side. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm interested to know why they chose Zambia. Why did they go there?
Well, my dad was an engineer, so he was all over the place. Actually, he went to so many places. He was in the UK, he was in Russia, then he went all over the place. He and Zambia seemed at that point when he came, actually even before. The place we live in is the city is called Kitwe, and it's in the copper belt area, copper mining, and so a lot of the expatriates, a lot of people from Asia were there, actually from all over the world. They were coming there. And yeah, so dad started up with that, and mom was a housewife, and we were in school. And yeah, so he stayed on with that for as long as that was going. And then, yeah, and then most people, what happened was the mines just stopped hiring expatriates, and they said, no, we need to give those same jobs to the local people who are trained, which, I mean, it makes sense, but it didn't make it easier for the expatriates.
Yeah.
But understandably, everyone either had to go back home or find something to do now with their life, and they've spent all so many years of their life here, and
yeah.
So most people went to New Zealand and Australia. A lot of some people came back to Sri Lanka, and then very few families stayed in Zambia. And
so there was a big community of Sri Lankans?
Yes, there was.
Oh wow! I wouldn't imagine.
And in the capital in Lusaka, there's so many. I know there still are people, but maybe not as many as we were there when we were young. Actually, yeah.
Lovely. So your parents decided to stay there with the kids, the education and everything. They didn't think of moving to another country.
Well, I know my dad had wanted to go to New Zealand, but I was still in school. My sister was, between dad and my sister, I think more my sister's idea. That was kind of like now the lifestyle that I was used to, everybody. And so they thought, look, it's easier to make your money, easier lifestyle. Everything was simple there. And so
not to disturb the kids' education and everything, probably.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. And also it's like stage, you're in school, and it's a big shift if you go somewhere at that point. Having to
Yes.
and at least at their age at that point, right? It was, I mean, skill wise, okay, he might have gotten a job, but there's also the physical strength and all
Yeah,
that.
true.
So yeah, she said, well, we can do a restaurant. And it was such a random thing but maybe not also because my dad's like, I think all of us we get it from him. He was an amazing cook, all meats and everything. He was fantastic, and especially because he was so traveled, he get all these. He learned very fast about all these meat marinades and rices and all sorts of things, salads, and it was always Sunday for him. With us, we always look forward to Sunday meals because that's when Dad made it. Right from breakfast, right on throughout the day, it was always like that. And
wow.
I think that's where us starting things came from as well. Kitchen.
Okay.
But yeah, so they started that, and it went really well for a long time until and we were the only kind of restaurant in that area. And then little takeaways came out, and now then people don't want to sit and eat. You don't have time. You just want to grab and go.
Just want to grab it.
Exactly. And so I mean, when you want to grab and go, then the restaurant business kind of starts falling and everything.
Yeah.
And so they changed it into a nightclub, and it kind of went. It was fine, and that was my it was a very good experience to be able to run the bar, and between my sister and I be bouncers, which is fun. But I mean, that was awesome though. It was a good experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what's helping you now with the Mexican kitchen, which we will come to later. Yeah. Okay.
The Mexican kitchen came about because of so many travelers coming through the town to go to other parts of the country. And my dad being the person and my mom being the person that she is, it was, oh, you have no place to go. Do you have a place to stay? No, no, you don't. Okay, well, come over home and stay.
How sweet.
Yeah, so a lot of the food that we had at home was from somebody. Oh, can we cook for you guys tonight? And let's exchange recipes and ideas. And that's how a lot of our home cooking was. Other people's cultures and cuisine mixed into our own dinners and lunches.
That's nice. So I'm curious to know, you were born there in Zambia, but your parents, did they integrate well with the locals? They were treated equally? I'm just interested.
It was fine so long as you didn't get married to them. That was a conversation with him before. And I was 12, I think. I think I told you this as well. I was 12, I think, when I had this conversation. I said, Dad, you do realize that we're living in this country, so I'm going to have a boyfriend who is from Zambia, and I'm going to get married. And we had a very lengthy discussion about it. Not all positive, but it was very lengthy. You can do whatever you want. You're just not getting married to one of them.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Very old-fashioned parents,
Yes.
Yes. No, it's like they were, when they passed away, when Dad passed away, he was 75 and I was in my 30s, right? Yeah, I was 35 maybe. So they were more like grandparents than actual parents. I keep telling my sister to this day, the age difference between me and my next sister is 10 years. And then the other one is like 15. So for me, my parents are more like my grandparents. So the mentality between us is also very different.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was really like the one who had to convince them of a lot of things that I was doing.
Just to add something here, I always wondered why, forget about others, but Sri Lankans, because I closely observe them, our community. Sri Lankans go abroad, they want the same culture, they want the same food, they want everything same, and they want their children to get married to a Sri Lankan. You might as well stay in Sri Lanka, guys. Why do you go to a different country then?
This was the argument I had, and I was 12 years old with my dad about why did you come here if you won't let me have a boyfriend? I mean, I get that I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend, period. I get that. All right. But if I when I was of age, are you sure you're not going to allow me to have a boyfriend from Zambia? We had this argument. And he told me off, and I still ended up having a second boyfriend.
I was thinking if I should ask you. Okay.
Right.
You did it, girl.
I did get almost, I think I did get disowned. I was told not to come back to the house, basically.
The typical Sri Lankan dad.
My mom loved him and my sister really liked him. So what can you do? I mean, we'd come over home when he wasn't there, and we would sit with mom and everything.
Somehow made it happen.
Yeah, and somehow in the end, my dad also got to know it was him and met him, and it was all right. I mean, they weren't going to kill each other, but it was okay.
Yeah, that's so sweet of him. So, coming back to when you came to Sri Lanka, which year was it?
2012 in January 12th, or something like that. January 10th or 12th, 2012.
Wow, guys, that's when I left Sri Lanka.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So 2012 you came, and since then you didn't leave.
No, because
Did you do trips to Zambia?
First of all, kind of was my whole purpose after I decided I was going to stay was to find a job, and then it's not the easiest thing to acclimatize yourself.
Not easy.
No, not at all. And so then I think I wasn't even sure I was going to stay because it was very difficult. It was very, let me put it this way, it was very challenging to the shift for me.
Yes.
Especially coming from the kind of lifestyle or work that I was doing. My work, the lifestyle is very simple. Right? I mean, I worked in the villages or on the streets and things like that, and in farms, and so I'm not a very, town person. So even if I had to be in the capital city there, it was only because of my ex-boyfriend and because he had a job there that required him to be there. So otherwise I'm not a city person. I'm not a big city person. I like my peace and quiet, and I love to see trees. I'm really not a big fan of buildings. I like my trees and my bushes. Yeah. It wasn't the easiest to come to Sri Lanka because everything felt so sophisticated here. I think the only time that I started working with the volunteer organization, and we were working in different parts of Sri Lanka, and you get to meet people outside of Colombo, and then you think, oh my gosh, yeah, I fit right in because it's simple life. It's food in a mutti.
Yeah, feels familiar.
It just felt like, okay, this is. I like this. This is probably why it was like the best transition for me to be a part of the organization that I was in and the people that I was in, because oh my gosh, I had days where I was coming in like, I cannot deal with this. I can't deal with this. Like, some guy touched me, I'm going to kill somebody, But it was difficult, and my first few years was a lot of trauma because of getting on buses and guys touching and poking and squeezing things, and me wanting to just, take something off and hit them with it. And then finally I learned how to hit with using, I still have my special umbrella.
Oh, yeah. Self-defense umbrella.
Oh, no, I just plain whack them with it. You touch me, I whack you. So I have that special umbrella that everybody knew in the office. Don't touch this woman. She doesn't like to be touched. And so I mean, that was one of the challenges, other than the heat that hits you. It's a very it's a humid heat, so you're always wet on your body and you're sweating.
Yes.
It's a dry heat, so you're basically getting roasted in Zambia. It's hot, but here you can boil. So it's a different heat. So I think but being in the field and doing that kind of thing, you kind of got used to the heat and everything. But I think that was one of my main challenges, the trauma from men in Sri Lanka and the heat. But
so we can call these cultural shocks, can we?
challenges, because I think you need, as a challenge, you need to be able to overcome it. If it's
Yes.
a shock, it's like it's there and it's forever there, right? And I feel like, if it's a challenge, in time you have to find a way to live with it, overcome it, ignore it. Something you have, if you're going to be a part of someone's culture, you have to be able to learn to somehow adjust yourself, because
Yes.
the whole world is not going to adjust to you. You
Yeah.
have to learn, kind of, mold yourself and adjust everything.
Compromise a little bit.
Compromise a lot.
Yes.
But yeah, like I said, it wasn't all crazy. I mean, there's so many funny things here that
I'm sure.
I was just telling him today, like while we were talking, and I was like, oh, I should probably write these things down. I'm not going to remember all of it. And we were talking about how dogs in Sri Lanka, they are not afraid of traffic, not ones, not cars, not nothing. They're not afraid of anything. But it's like people at home. They're not afraid of cars and traffic and everything. You can just whiz right past them like that. But a little bit of rain and everybody's scattering. The same with the dogs here. Traffic, but a little bit of rain, and it's like, it's trauma for them. They're scattering.
That's an interesting observation.
It's so funny. It was so funny to see that, and how dogs, cows, and all these other animals cross that pedestrian crossings. Have you seen that?
I've seen some videos. I mean, never seen it with my eyes, but I've seen videos on TikTok. Foreigners shoot it, the tourists. Yeah.
In buses or in tuk, and then you're like, oh my gosh, we actually had to stop for a dog that crossed on the pedestrian crossing. And it's funny. It's sweet. Never find that at home. I mean, that guy's not even going to cross without somebody crossing. It's so scared. So yeah, there's funny things like that, and how buses and trains. We don't have like a train system. It was just basically for cargo going from Zambia to Tanzania. At least when I was there, it was just a cargo train. But here you had trains. So my first, I think, adult train experience was in Sri Lanka. My first really yummy donut experience was in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I think some of the pictures I sent you were also, there's one with a donut in it, and that was my first donut experience. So a couple of them have my first times with you. My first train ride would have been in Sri Lanka as an adult.
Yeah, you need to write a book about this. Very interesting.
So many things. I mean, there's so many things that have been a first time just after coming. And it's been a challenge as well as a blessing, I mean, I think after many years of having to experience it, and then the people you meet as well, and now because of the cloud kitchen, there are people now that we can call family as well.
Yes.
People who we can go nuts with, and they're not judgmental or anything. We're just, simple us, and we get together when we can.
Yes.
And it's all met because of the kitchen, going and doing stalls or meeting a customer. And these guys are all customers, but now they're all just family.
Yes.
I think those are the things that make you think, it's, even if you are stressed out about things, it's the people, it's those connections that really matter. And thank God, even after 40, we're able to get those connections. And we keep talking about how not everybody has a blessing to have a connection when they're that much older. You might have school connections and things like that, but you're too busy or wrapped up in your life to get those connections,
Yeah, absolutely.
For us to
that we got to give it to Sri Lanka, the human connections, the real meaningful human connections, that I really miss it. I missed it abroad, because in Sri Lanka, it's easy to make close friends from work, or business like yours, or neighborhood, everybody celebrating each other's festivals, special days, occasions, something that I really missed out of Sri Lanka. Yeah. So Aruni, did you speak any Sinhalese growing up?
A the kind of Sinhalese that my parents would have spoken to come here and realize that was not Sinhalese. I don't know what you guys were speaking, but that definitely wasn't anything that, because my first time, I remember I think it was after that, my first time in the office I was working in, I was hearing people talk, but I didn't get anything. Like I just absolutely, and thankfully, my dad's family side, I think 90% speak English anyway. So my interaction with everybody has been in English right from the start. And so, yeah, the few people who don't speak, that was kind of like my parents. Okay, you know, they will talk to them and everything. But because of the work that I did, the community stuff here, working with the organization, going into the field, I had to learn. So I actually had books of all these words written down from learning words from bus drivers when they shout out, truck guys when they talk.
Wow.
The words. And yeah, and then I'd come home and then I'd ask my parents, okay, what is this? Can you tell me this stage in a context, like speak it, and I will write things down. And then I tried to listen to the radio and the news on TV. I was like, no, it's not happening. I can't understand that. Another level of Sinhalese. And so I kind of thought, no, let me just stay on this, you know, medium level of it's all right. But I learned I think I had like 4 or 5 notebooks full of words, and I was okay. And then COVID happened, and you know, I actually before COVID, right? Yeah, my mom had a stroke, and no, my dad passed away in 2015, and then I stayed on to take care of mom, and they were the main reasons I came to Sri Lanka, to take care of them. See them and then stay to take care of them. So I just didn't go. This is why I didn't go as well. It didn't feel kindly to take off and say I'm going back home, and then when I'm there, decide I can't come back. I don't want to come back from home. I didn't want to do that. So I thought, oh, also that, and most of whatever finances would have gone taking care of them anyway. So it wasn't the easiest thing, you know. I feel like so long as you know some of the words and you can throw them together in some kind of sentence, people understand.
Yeah. Yes.
They're not judgmental at all of your bad singular or bad anything. They're okay.
Yeah.
But the problem happened that like when I had to stay home and take care of mom, I wasn't going anywhere. I was literally not taking care of her, working from home. Thankfully, the organization that I worked with, they were very kind. My boss or brother was very kindly and helped me set up at home, so I didn't have to ever come out of that. Meant I didn't see anybody, I didn't speak to anyone. All the relatives who called to speak to her were speaking in English anyway, and yeah, and so then there was COVID. I think it was like 3 or 4 years that I just no Sinhalese speaking, like yeah, and so much of it now is gone. It's just whatever you learn, like those things, those kind of phrases and things, they're gone. But yeah, there is one. We just spoke about it today. I don't know why everything kind of came out today. We speaking about one Tuk guy who takes us when we need to get stuff for the restaurant, and he, I think, is the only person who understands my Sinhala. Like I throw people there at this point, and he's like, he has no qualms about it. He understands me completely, and yeah, and he advises on what to do, and I understand his broken version to me, like
English.
No, he doesn't speak in English. But he breaks it down in a way that it's like, okay, this dunderhead actually needs to learn. I'm going to help her, you know. I'm like, oh, blessings, thank God this guy met us. I'm so happy because you know, he has a awful lot of patience with me. He really, it's nice. So, I mean, like I said, when you can throw words together and everything, so long as I can think. Give me some time to think. I will think of the words and throw it together. But if you have to speak to me like about something and I expect a expect, no, it's not coming. Not anymore.
But even otherwise, guys, Sinhalese, you can put the word anywhere and it will still make sense. Like yesterday, I did an episode with this Australian expat who lives in Sri Lanka. She said, "You guys say I, you, love, not I love you." Yeah, Mama oyata adare.
Yes, I you love, right?
Yes, so just put it somewhere; it will still work.
Yeah, you can. So long as the word I and you and love is somewhere, it's okay, right? You get it. It's
Yeah. Okay, so and what about the food? I mean, the authentic food.
My first 2+ years here, I was on cornflakes because
Oh.
yeah, it was very hard because of my, when I had my first time that I was brought to Sri Lanka, I was 5, and then when I came back to see my parents, I was 30. So I didn't know much of the relatives. I didn't know anything. And so, I was new. And so when you're new, everybody calls you over for a meal or something or the other, and you get fed and you want to try all these new things. And the problem is you're not used to that kind of spice because food at home is quite bland.
Uh-huh.
Most of the stuff that I would have made or had would have been more herby than chili. And so when you come here and everyone's wanting to feed you and you want to eat it, you definitely want to. You're not going to say no. It's nice food and everything, but then you go home and suffer. You suffer for a long
You
time.
regret later.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and because I got that job that required me to be in the field and things like that, there was no way I could have those spicy things. So I lived on a lot of cornflakes and oats and things like that, mostly cornflakes. And then I found my favorite, which I still to this day is my favorite.
Which is?
I call it hilawade.
Ulundu vade.
I could never say it. People have, I think, God knows, since I've been here, people have been trying to get me to say it, but it doesn't stick in my head. So I just, even in the shop, even if I go to a random shop and I say, hilawade, and they know what I mean.
Wow.
That's so with the
urud dal. So remember that. Urud dal that we make dosa with.
Yes, that's the one. Okay, that's it. Yes. I love that. To this day, that and dosas, and I really love that. I mean, I love food. I really enjoy food. Just, not that crazy spiced, crazy chili kind of food. It's really hard even now to be able to digest that.
Okay.
At least the afterwards part. The beginning is okay, and then the afterwards is a bit difficult for the body.
Yes. Irishan is sitting there thinking, what are you missing? We love spicy food. Yes, Irishan?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Oh, you should have seen him when I first met him. He was this what do you call the roti, right? The pol roti. So he's someone who complete party guy when I met him, right? Like this was like massive Sri Lanka's biggest party guy that I knew. I was like, what am I doing with this guy, right? Because I came from a completely different kind of group of friends and everything, like very calm and chilled out. Let's have a glass of wine or let's go and have a beer. And then there was him, party man. And so one of the times we went to Mount Lavinia, and for breakfast, he found these pol rotis, coconut rotis, with the chili,
Luna miris.
Yeah, but that wasn't that was straight from the devil.
It's supposed to be spicy to wake you up in the morning, Aruni.
Yeah, but your bowels don't need that kind of awakening. Seriously, your bowels are all right. I mean, my bowels were insulting me, seriously, after having that. And he had no problem. Like, he just they're in between. So what he does is, because I can't eat mine, he scrapes off mine as well and puts it on his. Dripping, sweaty. Why are you eating this? You're suffering. Why are you doing this?
And let me guess, afterwards he had a ginger tea, plain tea. That's the real deal.
I don't even remember what he After that, I was just shocked. Look, I sat there looking at him eating. That's all. I don't know if we had any tea, but we were just no. It was
Just water. Just water.
yeah. He didn't even want water. He was just like, I'm okay. Are you sure you're fine? You're sweating. You're dripping sweat. Like you are like he was like a fountain. You know, like generally men sweat more than women. I feel right, especially from the hip. Oh my God, this one was like a waterfall. He was just all over the place. You know, like he was gushing water, but he was like. I'll just have the other one because I refuse. I said, no, I'm not doing this. I refuse. I'm not even at home to go and be sitting on a toilet somewhere, God knows. And then, there's no way I'm doing this. He had the whole thing and he didn't suffer at all. At all.
He was happy.
He was happy. But then I think after being with me, his spice level dropped.
Oh, no.
So
I thought it would be the other way.
For a while, I think I improved, but then I think as you get older, it's not going to sit well with me now. So you still cut, the amount of spice or spice is all right, the chili. I know there's something that people get very, that they confuse here. The words spicy and chili. People don't say chili with food. They say it's spicy, and I'm thinking, no, it's chili. Spices is for me like the whole general different this together, right? But then that chili is
heat,
something
hot heat, yeah.
It's fire. It's not heat, it's fire.
So Aruni, coming back to your life in Sri Lanka, do you feel safe in Sri Lanka as a woman? The first time you came, did you have any incidents, or overall you like it? Tell us about it.
Well, okay, there's because I was so used to, even from home, I was used to doing everything on my own, whether it was traveling, work, whatever, living, everything was on my own. So I never really, I think in that way, I never really had a problem with, there's that level of being naive and innocent, yes, but then I think a lot of that changed after I came here and met men here, on the buses and everything. That really changed. But before then, I've been very open, if I meet somebody on the road, I will say, hi, how are you doing? Okay, getting on the same bus? Yeah, okay. Where you at? I will feel free to initiate conversation, but that's as far as I'm going to go, because I also know my limits with anybody. You always, if you're traveling, you're always going to be around a stranger, and you're not sure what headspace they're coming with, what their intentions are. You don't know, and it would be not sensible to take a conversation or take any attention too far. You have to know as a woman. You have to know. This is something I told the volunteers that we worked with who were coming. We always did a volunteer, an orientation, cultural orientation for Sri Lanka, which involved, make sure you're going to dress appropriately. No things in buses, no transparent things. You have to learn that just because somebody greets you, that is not their opening for a whole other relationship. You learn to say no, that's enough. Thank you so much. I don't want it. And you have to be firm, but you don't have to be rude. If it goes too far, feel free to pick up something and hit it. If not, nobody else is going to help you. That's the one thing I find in Sri Lanka. See, nobody will help you on a bus. And that's something I've gotten to see on videos. I did a lot of checking on, was this just me? And was that, because you tend to think as, is it something I did? Did I provoke? But then you get to see, this is what countless people online say. Nobody helps. They'll take pictures, they'll laugh, they'll look and turn around, but they won't help. That is the part that was culturally shocking, not challenging. The other stuff was challenging. You have to get over it. But the shocking part comes with, youngsters not standing up for adults, not caring about people who have fallen down, not giving seats, and generally not assisting where there needs to be some kind of support. That is something that I always thought, why why wouldn't you do that? This is a very family-oriented culture. Yeah, so when something actually happened, I put all my energy into that umbrella. I just whacked it. At the end of the day, defend yourself. Wherever you are in the world, defend yourself. You're a woman. You need to take pride in yourself. You don't need to be touched if you don't want to be touched.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Applies to any country in the world.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I came to learn it here. So, I mean, for whatever reason, that was where I was meant to learn it. And well enough. All right. At least I've learned it, you know.
Yes.
But that is some of the things that I would tell, that we would advise young volunteers about. You know, you are not allowed to be touched. Your body does not need to be touched if you don't want it to be touched. Say no, make noise, yell, scream, fight, beat.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep a distance.
Definitely. But I mean, be friendly enough to say hello and have a conversation. But you know your limits as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about the facilities and infrastructure? Since you came, now do you see a growth, a development?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things. I think one of the first things that I noticed that was there, because we were in Kelani, was the
bridge.
Yes, the one, the highway thing. Highway thing that it was amazing how fast they did that. And then then the port city, and just generally how quick, how quick things come up, how beautiful the designs of the houses as well. Now the new houses coming up, and I mean, just in our area, it's been like 2 months, right? Yeah, 3 months or so, and then houses are coming up, and they're really beautiful designs, and yeah, there's so much of things that are different, growing, and yeah, things are getting better. I mean, there's a limit to how much bad it can get, right? After that, it has to go up.
Yes.
In life, anything, there's a limit to that base.
Hit the rock bottom. Yes. And then, yeah.
I'm sure there are things that, obviously, there are so many things that can improve in Sri Lanka, as in everywhere in the world.
Yes.
But there are things that are also getting better. There are things that are getting better. There are things that are not improving. Maybe things are getting worse. But infrastructure, you were saying, so much has come up, and it's nice to be in to be a part of that and say, oh my gosh,
that's true.
5 years ago there was nothing here. And he tells me stories of when I think it's in Nugegore, where he's originally from, and how there was absolutely nothing. You want to tell?
I mean, basically, you see areas filled with paddy fields when you're growing up.
Yes. Yes.
Like roads, there's like high-rise things.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's a very fast-paced
development.
That's going.
Yeah. Same. So you guys are based in Colombo itself?
We're at the end of Tower.
So,
sorry? We're based at the end of Kotawa, where there's a highway
exit.
Yeah. Kotawa change, you call it,
Yeah, so you chose that place probably because it's much more greener than the heart of Colombo?
Actually, we were in Kelani, and Colombo just wasn't it for us. I mean, now with the business and everything, I think it would be better to be in Colombo. But, when my mom passed away, we were just desperate to get out of that house, because that was my parents' place, and I couldn't stay there anymore. It was too many memories. I think my headspace wasn't in that. I couldn't deal with staying there. So we were looking for a place to stay, and his mom is in Sri Lanka. So she's closer, and it just felt like a little bit in between places for us. And it was just, I think the moment we saw it, I always believe that whether it's a person or a place or food or whatever it is, there has to be an instant click. Like you have to fall in love with something immediately.
Yeah, true.
Otherwise, and this was that house. I mean, there are people that you immediately meet and you're like, oh my God, I love you. You know,
Yeah.
you like immediately
Yes.
fall in love with them because you're just nuts and they get along with you and, you know, just your character. And this house was that. This was the place that we thought, oh, okay, great. And it
Could be
it
our
was,
home.
Yeah. And it was a blessing because this was like smack in the middle of COVID. So we had, just after we moved in, the second lockdown happened. So we today we moved in, tomorrow morning it was like lockdown. So it was a blessing as well because we needed to move out of there. And if we hadn't at that point, we would have taken a number of more years, maybe 2 years more to come to this place. And everything kind of fell in place. We moved. And then the cloud kitchen idea popped up, and you know, it kind of just progressed after that.
Nice. Yeah.
And also feel like, you know, when you walk into a place, some houses feel like, oh my God, so much light, and it just feels like an absolute blessing. And this was it.
Nice.
So
nice.
this was I fall in love with you house.
That's nice. That's very important, I think. Choosing a person or a property, you know, anything to spend the rest of your life with or life at. Yeah, it's very important. By the way, guys, interviewing people and talking to people, I observed something. This COVID thing, as tragic as it was, it also opened so many doors.
This is true.
People found themselves, found their thing, you know, where to go, which direction to lead. All this is just so beautiful. COVID opened many doors to many people.
This is true. And I find like so many, not just in Sri Lanka, but world over, home cooks are a big thing now. You know, home chefs, bakers, home cooks, everybody has kind of figured out, oh, actually, I can cook, I can bake, I can make gorgeous wedding cakes. And, you know, and you're thinking, oh my God, what were you doing all this time? You were working in a 9-to-5 job. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And they have this gorgeous wedding cake set up. And you're like, how did you do this? But it's always been them. And I guess something like that took people to learn more about
themselves.
And everything. What their restrictions and limitations are. I mean, you know, being at home with your family or a person is not the easiest thing if you're not used to that, because everybody is 9-to-5 jobs, right?
Yes.
And some people are traveling out of the country, and then so all of a sudden you're stuck. You are stuck. It's not even fun anymore. You are stuck with this person, this family, your kids.
Yes.
Yeah, and you have to learn to have fun or tolerate and live with it. And thankfully we didn't have it anymore because we were doing that anyway before COVID, taking care of mom. So we were always together. I mean, even with work and everything, we were always together. Living together, everything was always together since we met, mostly. So we didn't really have that problem, thank God.
No, that boredom for some people brought their hidden talents out for some people, and people started working digitally, so you know, like remotely. So I mean, COVID did good for some people. Yes,
I think it did a lot of good, really.
Yes, it did. Yeah. So so let's say you are moving from Zambia to Sri Lanka this week. How would you prepare yourself, Aruni?
From Zambia to Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Let's say you have to move next week. Now that you know, what would you do differently?
Next month?
Oh, you break my heart.
It gives me time. See, something I think, okay, I will tell you, this is things that we learned was necessary for even the volunteers who were coming to volunteer, whether you came here for 3 months, 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever. And this is purely based on the feelings people who were coming from outside to Sri Lanka were feeling. And because we were dealing with, sometimes there were teens, sometimes a lot of time adults, but still no amount of reading in a book is going to help. for some reason.
Watching videos, no.
No, I mean, it's nice to watch something and then, but you still see, you still think, okay, well, it's an Asian country. What? There's nothing that's going to happen. You learn it's a Buddhist country. So that means people are meant to be, not holy, that's not the word, meant to be
Kind?
spiritual.
Oh.
People are kind, but like more spiritual and that kind of thing. So you think in a country like this, what could go wrong? But yeah, there are things that could go wrong and right, but you just have, I feel like you need to be ready for things and not be trusting to a certain limit, but do a bit of research, for goodness sake, please, before you come. It's like, it really helps when I'm telling people, I always tell them, you need to have done some research about clothing. You need to understand that these are some of the food things you're going to get. Look at are there any festivals in the country? What do you eat during the festival? What do you do during festivals? How are you, if you see, when you do a bit of research, you're going to understand that almost every other building is a temple. And it's fine. You have to know how to behave when you go there. You can't walk into I don't know if people would ever go into a church in a pair of very like bum shorts or something. It wouldn't work. So it's the same thing in someone else's culture, right? You research about the things that are important. It's not you're just going to have fun, right? You have to be respectful about how you're going there and what you're going to leave behind. I think that's the one thing my dad always told me is, wherever you go, you make sure you leave something behind that is a bit more than what you found there. Don't just go and take it from there. No.
Make a positive impact.
That's it. Whether it's with a person or the culture or a person's home or whatever it is, even if it's a temple or a church or whatever, don't just go for the intention of taking something. Yeah, you want to take, but go with that intention that, I want to be able to do something. This is why working with volunteers was very fulfilling as well, because if a lot of people come to do something, the younger ones might come to learn and take something back, but in the process they learn also, which is one of the most important things that they could learn for themselves, is that in the process of learning and taking something with them, they also learn to give back into the community, to be open about their cultures and the food and everything, to teach things like that, to share like a little gift with the host families from their culture. I always felt that was very important. But all that came from before they come, that we tell them, you really need to learn a little bit about the culture. You need to learn a few words of the language, even if it's a basic ayubo and kohomada and, like barini or something, just learn some things, because when people realize you're not from here and you throw a word at them, they're like, oh my God, you actually know. And it's fun.
They understand that you make an effort.
This is true. And so the talk with them would always be the same way when somebody comes to your country, and if they come at you, what would you do? How would you welcome them? That is what you're going to expect from people here. So come at them. They're shy. This culture can be very shy. So you have to come at them not overbearing, but come at them respectfully. Have a sense of humor. Be a bit more open-minded. Yes, you might have your allergies and things. We all have that, but be kindly in how you mention that this one was a little bit too spicy, too chilly, maybe. Be respectful about somebody else's culture and in how you say it, and ask for what you want. Not to say don't ask for what you want. Ask for it, but be respectful. Learn about the types of food that are there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if it's too spicy, feel free to say, the weather is humid, it's hot. we're very sorry that we can't change the weather for you. We would if we could, but we can't do it. So, you know, you have to come with respectful but appropriate clothing. Yes, if you are a smoker and a drinker, please be mindful about how you are ashing in someone's house, or not to come back at god awful hours and disrupt the whole family. You know, so these are like these are things that as an adult I would expect you to understand, but or expect you to know whatever culture that you're coming from. But I would still prefer that you could read about it, watch the videos, and do all that, or you know,
more common sense.
There you go.
Yes.
First one, actually, it's general common sense. Yeah, it's very adventurous. You have a lot of adventures here, and coming from somebody who's just living, and you see monkeys on the trees and water monitors and what do you call those other fellows? The iguanas, and you know, there's a weird life. It's an adventure. And that's something that I always tell even people at home. You know, our backyard and the neighbor's backyard before in Kelani, the moment you walk out, it's an adventure here. It's not like at home where you kind of have to create it for yourself. You have to go and create adventures for yourself. But here it's like there's something is always happening. Somebody will always bring you some little treat that they made, or all of a sudden it's Poya Day, so everybody's going to the temples, and you see these gorgeous flowers people are praying with, and there's a lamp, or you know, you're in a tuk whizzing past and praying for your life, and that is not there at home. You know, you don't have tuks at home. It's not exciting. I mean, Zambia is my home. It always will be. I grew up there. I was born there. That is what I miss the most in life. I think more than anything in the world, I miss my home. But it's exciting here. It's adventurous. It's there's a lot of things you can do in the space of one day. Just in one day, there you can do so many things.
It's never boring, let's say.
So this is not a boring country. There's so many things and smells and places and people, just so many things to experience. Like initially it's very overwhelming because it's like, you know, but you kind of tend to, okay, today I'm going to deal with this, tomorrow I will deal with that, you know, and you kind of pace yourself. It's all right, but you know, when you first come, it's kind of like in your face.
Yes.
I think sometimes it can be difficult. It's the noises in itself from the tuks, and you know, the one thing here, oh my gosh, the honking, right? You honk when you want to pass somebody. You honk when you see someone on the road. You honk when you are getting close to somebody and you think that you're going to bump into them. You honk. You honk at everything.
That's how they talk.
It's like honking is a thing. The only time they hit the brakes is when they think, okay, something big, they're going to hit into something big, right? Otherwise, no brakes, is accelerator, go, and the horn. You know? I have to say that, like a lot of things, when it came to government stuff, I was pleasantly surprised. Very fast. And the kindest people we have met. I know there have been so many complaints about people who work in government and how slow the process is. That, yeah, I really, truly, sincerely, I feel for those people who it's taken forever to get things done. But by some God's grace, honestly, we've had the blessing of meeting such beautiful souls. They just immediately walk in and you tell them, oh my gosh, you know, I have no idea what to do about this and this. And they immediately, they help. I mean, to make things faster, to help you get things done, so many things. And we thought, even just to get myself an ID, because all I had was a passport, just to get myself an ID, we had so many wonderful people just, you know, oh, okay, right. So you need to do this, get this there. Okay, from that, you bring it over here, I'll get. It was never difficult for us, for me at least, to get things done in Sri Lanka. We just had that blessing of people just being so kind to us. So
that's nice.
Yeah,
many Sri Lankans look down on our bureaucracy. Let's put it into this word. But having dealt with European bureaucracy, now I feel like we are blessed to have it. Just passport in one day. We are complaining we cannot get it in 3 days. But come on, people wait for
That's a
3 months
blessing.
or more. Yeah. So coming from a small island, developing country, I feel like our bureaucracy is on the right direction, at least for now.
It's,
so far.
it's fine. It's
Yes.
fine. It'll get better. For now, it's fine.
Hopefully. Yeah. Can I ask you this, guys, from both of you? The current change of the administration, does it feel like it's making a difference, or do you feel like something is changing into better, or what do you think?
Really say, because nothing that's been said.
It's too soon.
We can't see it yet, but
I think it's too soon.
It's too soon.
Sometimes you need to give a bit more time and chance.
Yeah,
and
I'm
giving people chance. Yeah. Whether you want to mess up things or you're going to make it right, you must be given chance. Whoever it is.
Yeah.
So,
the mess up that had happened, they really need time.
They've taken enough time to do that, right? To completely destroy.
So even recovery takes time. So
yes.
You have to keep your hopes as well as you
have faith.
Yeah, you have to
have faith in this. In things getting better in life for yourself, for other people, for the country. You have to have faith.
Yeah. Okay, so Aruni and Irshan, tell us about your exciting cloud kitchen concept.
Okay, so when we came to this house, when we moved from Kalani, and moved to this place, it was in October 2020. Yeah. And I'd been making all sorts of crazy things because, we're taking care of mom. And so we had to have a particular thing. But then when she passed away, it was okay. Now we can eat things the way we need to, health-wise and all that stuff. But also, have those treats because on the weekend, because there's no way we can make anything because of her health. And we had to be very strict on her diet and everything. I was very strict in how I made things, what I cooked, everything specifically for her. And so then it was, I was making things on and off for him. And then he was like, oh, do you know, you can cook. And I was like, okay, no, you can't cook.
You discovered that.
Yeah, he's telling me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. What are you getting at, And said, how about we open up a restaurant? And I was like, are you insane? In this country, I don't know anything about anything in this country. Like, I don't know people. I don't know anything how to start. Where would you start? Where to even find a building? No, how about we do it as a cloud kitchen? Okay. All right. How would we go about it? So there's so many, we're ordering things left, right, and center now. So Uber Eats and Pick Me Food and things are there. And I was like, yeah, but you see, I kind of just cook for people, my immediate circle of people, which were at home, which was home. So those friends that were my family for him. So, and his family, so birthdays and things sometimes, like something whether it was a braai at barbecue, whatever things, right? And then he was like, okay, how about you come up with a menu? Okay, and then I did. So a lot of different things, not Mexican, a lot of different things that coming from my parents and all the things that we used to eat. So a lot of Hungarian things, German things, Lebanese, a whole array of, I remember this, I remember that. Okay, right. And then he said, how about we call up my family for New Year, for lunch, or was it breakfast or lunch or something? And you make all the things that you like. And I was like, okay, fine. Yeah, if they don't die the next day and they're alive, I'd be very, very happy about it. And this is his whole family, not just, it's not
immediate family.
Yeah, but still, it's like, it's everybody together. Usually it's like one person, 2-3 people together, and you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're going to actually do this around the table. All right. So made a whole lot of different things. Still have pictures of those things that we made that day, and they really liked it. Like they really loved the food, and
The
I
food
mean the
looks
one.
good, by the way, from the pictures you sent me. It's really.
Oh, bless you. I don't know if we sent you the links though.
I'll get it
Facebook
from you. I'll get it.
Okay. And yeah, and so he was like, how about we start? And so we started from that, and we were trying different dishes, and we got to, it was all kind of, we didn't know what would fit for Sri Lankan food, because I honestly at that point my Sri Lankan food was completely from YouTube. Trying to cook things, like even for mom, things that she would eat anything, but it had to be healthy stuff because of her stroke and everything. So everything was like, very, very strict. And so now I'm thinking, okay, so can't do Sri Lankan food. I know Indian food. I can make different Indian dishes because of even the people that I grew up around. A lot of people got to teach me stuff like that. But my mom's Sri Lankan cooking was also moderately
so authentic. Okay.
No. Yeah, she wasn't. She made, her food was nice, but it was different. It wasn't and we don't get the same kind of spices that you get here.
Yeah, that's true.
It would have been spices that have been sitting in the store for God knows how long. So it's black pepper, but you come over here and oh my gosh, I love the black pepper here and the bell peppers. It's so nice to smell them. They're so nice. It's so different. But then like they're so much stronger, and so you think, okay, yeah, I kind of had this, but it didn't taste at all like this. And so yeah, and then we just started from there, and we took 1 year, and we did it as, I don't know where we even came up with a name. It was Comfort Food by Hungry Travelers. That was the name we started off with. And and then we met up with a photographer who was very kindly and very he was very supportive. Like he said, look, what sells the most? Like he got us a bit more focused on, okay, so what goes the most? And all right, it's these dishes. All right, so if you've noticed, it's more the Mexican line because the flavors are very familiar, maybe to Sri Lankans. Not familiar, similar. You use the same spices, but in different quantities. So this taste is more prominent in Sri Lankan cooking, and this more in Mexican or Hispanic. And so we thought, okay, so I mean, this seems all right. And then we rebranded to Muy Grande after a year, and I think in February the next year we started Muy Grande, and slowly we've been trying to get our food out, and so far it's been a blessing. So many people just text in or give us a call just randomly, or a lot of people from Facebook, from Instagram. I think mostly we're active on Instagram. And
I think I've seen you on the Vegans in Sri Lanka group. Do you make vegan food, guys?
Yes, we actually started. That was one of the things we actually started last year. So every year we it's not that we actually decided to do something different, but it just happened that the first year we did the different dishes, and the next year we rebranded to Mexican. The next year we did markets, or was it the frozen items? We did frozen items. So we did frozen quesadillas and burritos for the first time in Sri Lanka as frozen items, and we were putting that at Celeste Market and then Park Street, so mostly Park Street now. Lots of different things every year. And then last year we started doing the vegan items because we had the blessing of a vegan customer calling and saying they wanted a vegan burrito. And it was, that's when that whole journey started with him of making food. I love making food for people. I absolutely love even having to see them eat it, and the expressions and everything. I really love that.
we're on Uber Eats and Pick Me Food.
Great.
radio.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're within a radius of 10 kilometers
From
Mm.
us.
from our location, you
Mhm.
can order from us, and we're available on Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
and you can always WhatsApp us.
So, guys, really lovely to have you. It was a very interesting, nice conversation. Your input is very valuable.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity, for having us.
Glad
and
to have
speaking
you.
to- And it's lovely
was
to
fun.
speak to someone so bubbly as well. You've been
Thank
amazing.
you.
It's really nice to speak with you. Really hope you can come by with your family. It will be lovely to meet.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.